towards kind of a 1-4 where you're trying to get the likes this Camille off in a side lane, dealing well against the likes of the Ornn. And then you're going to have this big ultimate coming in with the Leona and the Hecarim and that Rumble to see if they can burst out the remaining members of Rogue Warriors. I'll be curious to see how it does work out. And I think personally against Rogue Warriors composition, if you don't have that Ornn there, this is where...
For pushing out mid and then roaming to the side lanes and causing chaos. So we could have a real scrappy, real exciting game ahead of us. Harrow on this Kayn up against the Hecarim from Tian. I'm really excited for this matchup.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of action coming through from both the mid laner and those jungles right here. Because Harrow's, as we said, is going to be trying to make sure that he can get in and get some of these early scuttle crabs. But certainly when you look towards Tien and Doomby, they have a really strong skirmishing power of both the Rumble and the Hecarim. So I want to see who can get control of this river early and how well they can use that to start to get these advantages. Because both these junglers, once one gets ahead, can just get just leaps and bounds ahead of the other.
So it's going to be Conqueror here for Harrow, which means he almost certainly is going to go towards that Red Kayn and towards Gore Drinker and the kind of Bruiser build that we've been seeing very regularly. I actually don't know. I don't know if you know this one, Dag. Does Gore Drinker upgrade from Ornn? Is it just mythic items upgrade now?
All mythic items.
No idea.
So every mythic item gets an upgrade. So once you have one, that's where you get your upgrade from. So Harrow,
every champion is good with Ornn now.
Yes. Yeah.
Sweet. That's pretty nice. Kind of and there was an Ornn buff that he got a skin finally. There was an Ornn buff that he can go with any champion now because all mythics upgrade. Hey, Ornn's feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, he's doing all right. I mean, I think in this game, though, Civ is definitely going to be on the back foot. Shellohao will, on this Camille, be able to get a good amount of pressure here. Already on the wave as well. Honestly, I was surprised to see Ziv helping out with the clear for Harrow. Most of the time, you see the Kayn starting on towards Raptors. You can clear that pretty handily, even with the nerfs. And then you move over towards the rest of your camps. But just trying to give a head start to Harrow because, as we talked about, it is super important for both these junglers to get these early leads, make sure that they're getting on towards these scuttle crabs, and having a bit of help there for Harrow means you'll have that faster clear through the jungle.
Crisp looking for the Zenith onto Betty here. And this is really aggressive trading coming out from FPX, even before level 2, just making sure that they are putting the pressure down so that Chocho and Betty can't get pressured because, you know, MF set, if they get ahead in that lane, it's going to be a nightmare to do anything. So really good job by FPX to stop that in its tracks before it even begins.
Yeah, and you can see just the sustain advantage that FPX are going to have in this bottom lane as well. Biscuits picked up for the Kai'Sa too, so already having a health advantage plus the pot advantage. Now more sustain coming in on top of it. LWX and Crisp have done a nice job of setting themselves up. This bot lane matchup really turns in favor of Rogue Warriors at that level 6 mark, where you do have access to the Showstopper, where you just lob this Leona back in on top of the Kai'Sa, follow up with the bullet time. That's what we'll be waiting for. Whereas, at least for the moment, Leona can do a decent amount to try and get on towards Betty. Although, if Betty can keep his distance, she'll be able to farm it out.
All right, well, both junglers are on the bottom side of the map right now. Harrow's on a ward. He's not going to be aware of that one. And in the meantime, you can see Tian just clearing out the Krugs, and we'll go for this one. Flash from Chocho. Crisp now with the Zenith Blade onto Chocho himself. Does have the Haymaker to keep himself alive for now. No heal available. It's cleansed for Betty, but Tian just going to dash out again.
That's actually pretty big coming through for Rogue Warriors. The Ghost being used by Tien just lowers that pressure that the Hecarim can have in ganks. Like, the ability to just Ghost in and quickly run someone down from afar is very difficult to deal with, but Doomby getting invaded.
Yeah, Doomby wants to be aggro here. He does not want Harrow to be able to farm. Actually denied the escape through the wall. Chris moves up as well. And the Wolf will reset itself, so it's not like they take the camp away, but hey, just putting pressure on the enemy jungler is always going to be great.
Yeah, and this is something that Doomby... Ooh, a lot of members actually here from FPX and mid, but this is something that Doomby can do quite a bit, is just try and shove in this mid lane and then go for these plays. The problem that I'm seeing, though, is I actually would have wanted Doomby to back. he doesn't have that teleport, so using that reset timing to get that tempo advantage was really important off that crash. Unfortunately, though, now he's only backing. You have Forge who could potentially push in this wave, and means that then you'd end up losing a bit of CS as Doomby, but instead it's actually given the freeze over towards Forge, which now puts Doomby in a situation where he has to overextend to try and push in this wave.
Yeah, this is going to be really great for Forge. I'm not sure if the minions actually got under the tower or if he did manage to freeze it. He is on a ward, so they'll know exactly what's going on. But it does now mean I think Forge's wave will be stacked, so it's going to naturally push its way in. So Forge kind of has to just shove this next wave, I believe. I'm just trying to read the mini-map. It's hard to count the minions exactly, but that's what it looked like when I saw the wave for a second there.
Either way, like, this is... although it was... like, you did slow down Harrow a bit, it does hurt Doomby, but in the long run you can see the distance the difference that's been made up in that jungle. Tien now hitting that level 6 versus the level 4 of Harrow, and that was really what Doomby was going for. And what we expect from Doomby is this less selfish play where he's happy to give over decent lane states and advantages for himself to set up the rest of his team. Usually it's these 4-man dives bot side. This time it's given that advantage to Tien.
And it's kind of interesting, isn't it? That is the way that people think about Doomby when it comes to professional play. Because when you watch his stream and you look at him in solo queue, it's like the complete opposite to how he plays. In solo queue, his jungler doesn't ever get raptors or wolves. He farms mid lane, he farms raptors, he farms wolves. He farms mid lane, he farms raptors, he farms wolves. Over and over again. Like, he just clears the jungle as the mid laner constantly and just power farms his way up. So it's a totally different style of play, what we see from Doomby in professional to what you regularly see from him on stream.
But that's the thing. I mean, in competitive, it's a very, very different ball game, and that's why we have like the meta that we're seeing at the moment, where it's more about playing towards these junglers, because the jungler is the only real lane where you're going to see like a 2 to 3 level advantage just off of farming. But here we go.
Forge going to be pushed underneath the tower. Shockwave onto Tien, though. Can Tien get away with this one? Looks like it. And a very clean dive coming out from FPX. Nicely done. And a great equalizer as well there to force Forge towards Tien.
And it was really nice as well because they made sure that there was no way for the rest of Rogue Warriors to react. You know that the Kane is going to be on his top side because you've got wards there on his blue. What side here? Betty?
There we go. Betty's in trouble, but they can't quite proc the plasma. It's actually LWX taking a lot of damage instead. Chocho's gone way too deep for this one. One more auto will finish the job. And I mean, that fight was over about 5 seconds before it was over, and then Chocho extended. So we got a little bit of bonus fight going on.
Yeah, that can be the problem sometimes when you play Zeta support. You just feel so big and so tanky. You're like, I'm going to kill everyone. And you're like, wait a second, he stunned me. I don't know what to do here. It's like, I have no haymaker either.
Yeah, oh, no.
No. We've all been there, but unfortunately it does mean that is a kill going over towards LWX, and honestly LWX and Crisp have just been playing this lane so well from the get-go, going aggressive at level 1, making sure that Betty wasn't able to try and trade, so they get the level 2, get the push in. It all was going in favor of FPX, and using the fact that they've got those double combat summoner spells as well to just force unfavorable fights from Rogue Warriors.
So 2-0 on the scoreboard right now, and this has been a much slower paced game than basically anything we've seen today. And I can't say I'm that surprised, even though it's FPX and Rogue Warriors. This game means everything. Whoever wins this, if Rogue Warriors win this, there are no tiebreakers. Rogue Warriors wins the group flawlessly. So they are obviously going to be playing this one as cautiously as they can to try and make sure that is the case. But outside of that as well, for FPX, they need to win this to force the tiebreaker to be able to make it out of this group, to be able to force that three-way tie, and then who knows what happens at that point. So a lot on the line here for the two teams. I don't think we're going to see the same kind of fiesta gameplay that we've seen earlier on today.
And it's definitely looking good for FPX. They're already winning top side of the map just due to the matchup. Tien has made sure that they're winning down on the bottom side of the map and in mid lane, and it's really difficult for Harrow to try and come back into this game because he's 2 levels down. You can see he's trying to farm his way back into it, has just hit level 7, but still massively far behind, and he's got to be so careful about how he approaches this, because if you have the likes of Doomby or Xiaolao Hu invading towards this top side jungle or even bot side jungle, you've got to piece out as Harrow, and that's more advantages going in favor of Tien. Tien has a lot of power in this game to snowball this jungle lead that he has.
He really does. And You know, Harrow, once he gets the Gore Drinker, will still be a threat. It's not like he's out of the game completely, but certainly not a great start to the game. And obviously, Kane, not the greatest early game jungler anyway. You do generally want him to get a form before he's going to be at his full strength, but Chocho with a pull in onto Crisp, flashed away there, and Harrow might just be able to punish on this one. They're committing to just trying to finish Crisp, but some interesting positioning. Crisp might actually be able to get away with this one. I feel like that was a guaranteed kill that Rogue Warriors let get away.
Yeah, a little bit of a, as you said, like misalignment coming in on this from Harrow, where might have been able to cut off the retreat from Chris, but good job from Chris to be able to read exactly where he needs to be positioned, maneuvers around Rogue Warriors, they're able to get the kill, but that's the level 6.
They're still going to go for this one, Chocho, with the Haymaker to keep stuff alive here. LWX flashes for the kill, but he might have killed himself as well. Betty out of the Solar Flare. In goes Harrow to grab that kill. It's 1-for-1 after all of that.
Yeah, and I mean, Betty nearly died to Crisp as well. Like, that was not the play that they wanted to start it off, and here comes the horsey.
No. Betty, you're in trouble, my friend. Tian is just going to run straight at him and run him down. I've been that AD carry. We've all been that AD carry. There's nothing you can do.
And here you go. You get the... Oh, actually, topside?
Yeah, Ziv going to get some good damage here, but I think that Xiaolao Hu should be able to get away, yeah. He's fine. Camille.
He'll be able to step away. I was actually curious to see if we were going to see... Oh.
Ooh.
He thought against this, yeah. The thing
he just
is,
wanted
though,
to walk. He's maybe still going for this.
So I was actually looking to see how Rogue Warriors want to play. Dragon is up in just a few moments. They've completely lost track of bot side. So honestly, I like this play from Rogue Warriors where they try and make something happen on the opposite side of the map. Now, they will get some turret plates, but it's an Ornn and a set support who are picking it up. It's not the most dangerous of gold to be inheriting as Rogue Warriors.
Oh,
this is a while ago.
Gank on Forge.
God, they are
so
just
we never got to see that on the screen, but yeah, that was just... This is the second time that it's happened where this is just such a potent combo where you just lay it out in the equalizer, Hecarim just jumps onto them, and there's not a whole lot Orianna can do in that situation.
And that's the thing is that, like, it just looks like the same clip because they're just rinse and repeating. This is all you have to do. Level 6 gets hit, and unfortunately that's... No, Ziv is going to back away, but unfortunately for them, this is why we were talking about the strength of this mid-jungle 2v2 and the ability to use this. Orianna's a champion, doesn't do too well in skirmishes and wants this like slow-paced game where she can get towards her Needle's Tempest. She wants a lot of vision control in River, so then she can like abuse the long range and try to poke out Doomby, but they didn't get any of that this game. Tien had full control over the River. He was the one invading. He's the one that set Harrow behind alongside Doomby, and then they're just abusing this fact over and over again, catching out Forge when he doesn't have his flash of it.
Yeah. So first tower now is going to go the way of FPX. It will be traded in the top side by Betty, but if you look towards the mid lane as well, there's only one plate left on that mid lane tower. So FPX really finding themselves advantages through these tower plates early on. And you can see that in the gold. It's a 3,000 lead right now for FPX. They're 2 Drakes up as well. Tian has had complete control of this game.
Yeah, and I mean, that's not really going to change. Harrow, unfortunately, just hasn't been able to keep up, and that's one of the big problems with Kane as well, is that when you are going for this Ras build, going for the Gore Drinker, if you're behind, you just get burst out too quickly for Gore Drinker to really have any meaningful value. So this Ras is going to fall pretty far behind pretty quickly. Still hasn't unlocked it at level 13 minutes into the game as well, which is a little bit slow, but I have a feeling that's more so because he's been attacking the range champion on the bot side and not actually able to get him.
He must be pretty close to it as well, looking towards Crisp there, as he will be able to grab his red buff. Important to mention, though, he has got that Gore Drinker. So, individually, he's 1 level behind. He is behind, but it's not unplayable at this point. That position is unplayable for Chocho. He is well and truly dead. Aaron now going to try and do anything here, and Zip's going to get a 3-man knockup. Great turnaround coming out from Rogue Warriors, but the rest of FPX collapses immediately, and Harrow will likely go down here. Gets through the wall, though, and actually gets out with his life as well. Forge is here, trying to get some damage onto Doomby, but it is Rogue Warriors that have to back away.
Yeah, Rogue Warriors will back away. FPX, I'm assuming, will try and push in these turrets, but you've got Rift Tower that's going to be spawning in just a few minutes. I'd like to see them try and play towards that instead of trying to force down these turrets. But it doesn't really matter either way. Like, they get what they came for. Kills on that top side. And nice job from Crisp, by the way, in this play to stop that big ultimate coming through from Betty. It's just the power of Leona into this Misfortune is you've got that long range ultimate to shut down any of these Misfortune ultimates before they really ramp up on the damage end. You're going to see the replay here. It is a nice ultimate here coming through from Ziv from what was pretty dire situation. But watch here. Betty opens up with the bullet time. Instantly Crisp pops down the Solar Eclipse. And there's just nowhere for you to go in that point of time.
Yeah, really, really nice stuff coming out from FPX. But we did see a little glimmer of what can happen from Rogue Warriors as well. Ziv with the knock-up into the Shockwave from Forge. If Betty's there, if Chocho's there to follow it with the bullet time and the CC from Set, there is a serious bit of wombo combo action that can come out from Rogue Warriors as well. So if they can find the right setup, this is still very doable because in those kind of team fights, when you're layering CC like that, gold leads don't matter as much.
Yeah, and it's about trying to hit the right timing for that combo to work. Like for Forge, you're waiting on that Luden's Tempest, sorry, gives you a nice little bit of an advantage, but realistically, you're trying to wait until your further item come in, kind of that 3-item spike, I'd say, or maybe even 2 items, a half-item spike is where you're really looking for. But when you're looking at this Misfortune, she still wants to finish off her Eclipse, so there's still a bit of a time before Rogue Warriors hit that spike, and unfortunately for them, FPX have already hit us. You've got Kraken Slayer completed for LWX, Doomby with this Night Stalker as well is going to do so much work, and double Triforce, like this is FPX looking damn strong right now.
Just look at the plate gold difference, almost 1,000 exclusively just in that. They're 4,000 gold ahead across the whole game, and this will be the 3rd tier 1 they've taken. So now they've pushed that line of control way further up the map. Now they get to drop a Herald on towards this tier 2 as well. Doombees here has the equalizer if he wants to try and force the play onto Betty here. But with this charge, they're going to be able to force the tower at very least. What do Rogue Warriors do to answer? Going to get a stun onto the Camille, pull it back underneath the tower. Hextech Ultimatum will not save her as Kane finishes the kill off. Harrow on the scene as Ziv gets a knock up on the top side of the fight. Tian going to try and gallop away from this one. He's going to need some speed on those hooves. The Ghost has been procced. Will be able to dash away from the knock-up. Nice little onslaught shadows from Tian.
Yeah, nice job to escape away from that. FPX overextending there. Shadow, who nearly gets the knock onto Betty, but nice job from Chocho to read the fact that he could pull them back in. So end up trading a kill back in their favor for the tower. Now you've got this dragon in 20 seconds as well, which is a nice job to take away from FPX, because honestly, if FPX get this, then you're suddenly forced to fight. They've just bought themselves a bit of breathing room now with Chocho making that play.
So now over towards Dragon. This is very important for Rogue Warriors because it's going to be Ocean Soul this game. If they can grab this, deny Soul Point from FPX, that is such a huge win in the short term for Rogue Warriors. It stalls out a massive win condition from FPX, and it means that they've got a little bit more in the tank now. They've got a little bit more to work with. So Rogue Warriors with a pretty big win there being able to grab that.
Yeah, and as we said, stemmed off from Chocho's play here. Great job to read how he could get onto Xiaolong Hao. Xiaolong Hao tries to make the play to maybe get onto Harrow, maybe get something back, but you can see FPX know that they're in the wrong place here. Tien not really in a position to get the flank, and they end up backing away. So Dragon goes over, Rogue Warriors by themselves that breathing room. What they need to try and get out into these side lanes, try and get control of the waves, because right now FPX, they've got full control of the jungle. They're grouping with these waves nicely on time, and you're kind of being pulled across the place as Rogue Warriors to get to these lanes, but it's difficult for Betty and Forge to really get to the right place at the right time.
Yeah, Zip will be able to clear the wave on this bottom side. Looks like FPX would have loved to dive this one. They toyed with the idea, but they realized that they don't have much of an opportunity there. Ziv has his ult as well, so worst case scenario, he can clear all the minions and maybe even turn it around for a kill. So FPX is going to back away in the end. And even though their gold lead has extended a little bit, this win does feel a little further away from FPX than it did a moment ago. The fact that we're getting a few items now completed on the side of Rogue Warriors, it doesn't feel like FPX can just walk in and bully Rogue Warriors quite in the same way that they could a few minutes ago.
The issue though is that FPX, they don't really have to bully to get control. They already have like a lot of tempo in their favor. They can shove in these waves and just move in and take that vision without Rogue Warriors really being able to fight them back. So that's where the big issue is for Rogue Warriors right now, is trying to get control of their own jungle. So Harrow can continue to farm up, try and match back up with Tien. Now has done so with the levels, which is really impressive, as Tien was massively far ahead in this matchup, but you can see now they're still struggling to get in on top of FPX and find these plays that can slow again the progress of FPX.
Tien has been doing a lot of like sitting in brushes waiting and like looking for these ganks that never actually come through. So I have to say, I'm impressed by the respect that Rogue Warriors have been giving FPX here, because, you know, I introduced this team at the start of this game as a chaotic team that will just fight you for everything. That's not what we're seeing here in this game. Well, they're showing big respect to FPX, and they know that they have great scaling.
Don't forget, this is a new Rogue Warriors, right? I mean, only Harrow is the member that has remained from last year. It's a completely newly revamped roster, so we're going to see a very different style of Rogue Warriors. Now, we have seen a little bit of that chaos from earlier on in the day, but I think that was kind of part and parcel with Demacia Cup in general. So now we're starting to see what Rogue Warriors can really be like, and they can play this slow style. They can try and, you know, turtle up, bring themselves back into this game. And when you've got like 2 minutes until Dragon, you know, with the composition that FPX have, they're not going to try and just rush down a Baron. You can take your time here and just play it out. Try and get those items. Luden's Tempest now completed for Forge. Looking to see if he can get that Archangel Staff finished up as well, alongside the 2 items for him.
Chocho's been caught out. Haymaker to keep himself alive, but look at this, straight onto Betty with everything. Ziv gets a knock-up to try and save Chocho, but no avail. Harrow now just desperately trying to escape from the play because his team is in tatters. And you said that they can't rush the Baron, but they can after a team fight.
Yeah, and it was a dominating one as well. I mean, look at the health bars. Barely a scratch onto any of the members of FPX. That was just beautifully played, understanding that from Rogue Warriors' point of view, they really want these kind of front and back fights where you can get like Mariana ball placed nicely. You got this Misfortune ultimate that can come in. And FPX just said, screw that, we're coming in from every which direction. You guys figure out what way you're running, because we're running you down.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. And it's kind of one of those situations where, I mean, let's take another look, because Betty and Forge both just get absolutely run down in this one.
And that's the thing. I mean, if you're Forge, where the hell do you place your ball in this position? If you're the Misfortune, you're already dead before you can even consider where you place that ultimate. Like, there was just no hope for the Rogue Warriors backline, and that's just the power of FPX when they do get control of these jungles, especially Tien having Ghost, the Onslaught of Shadows. You can close that gap so easily and effectively if Rogue Warriors aren't ready.
Yeah, just an insane dive available for the side of FPX here when you've got Tian's ultimate, the Onslaught of Shadows, actually activates LWX's ultimate as well. So LWX can then follow up on the play. Equalizer is incredibly long range, so Do and B can follow up on the play even if he's nowhere near. And then you've got a Camille, who diving is her bread and butter, to save for Leona. So this whole composition just wants to run at you, and Rogue Warriors are really feeling the wrath of that. They're now almost 10,000 gold down, and they're just locked in their base trying to defend.
And it's going to increase that gold lead, because honestly, you can take these outer towers, then you push in. They're able to fall back here's FPX towards this dragon that has spawned as well. Add themselves to that soul point. Solar Flare going wild though.
Yeah, the only thing I've got remaining for Rogue Warriors here is the fact that they have an Ornn, they have an Orianna. Like, theoretically in the late game they could look good, but they're so far behind that I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Here we go, Call of the Forge got across the team. Tian knocked up on a good bullet time as well, but they just don't have the damage to finish any of these kills off. The gold lead is monumental, and now Betty gets jumped on by Xiaolahu, and that's going to be that from this one. I think Zib's going to fall as well. A full ace and a quadra kill to boot for LWX. This is beautiful from FPX. Do they have the minions to end this one? They've got 20 seconds to go. They've got a TP on the caster minion. That's one Nexus turret fallen already. This one's going to be over, Hector.
Yeah, it's going to be very close, though. Chocho is up. I don't think he's going to be able to make the miracle play. It's going to be FPX who will close this game out and put us on to a 3-way tie.
And a quick one as well. An important quick victory for FPX here. That's going to lower their average time. So, to give context quickly, we now have a 3-way tie between FPX, Rogue Warriors, and OMG. We have a three-way tie in terms of the head-to-head.
Second you start to get ahead, you just run away with it, and your opponent just becomes a null factor.
Yeah, it becomes very difficult. And we talked about LWX being kind of that hyper carry in this composition, but honestly, it was all about Tian and doing B in that mid lane, just brute forcing their way underneath the tower. Forge just getting basically every time Equalizer was available, they just drop it on Forge. Tian runs in, and they just
Demacia tend to be indicators of like what we're going to expect in spring. Yeah. I've nicked it on you, but and it's like it's an even more prestigious club than people that have won the LPL. So definitely Demacia Cup does give pretty decent indicators as to what you can expect for the remainder, at least for spring anyway. So I'm excited to see how that does work out. And although we see a lot of these rookies coming in, this is their proving ground. This is where we get to see, actually, hang on a second, this is so we can build on it. Their legacy kind of going into first.
Yeah, super excited to see VG as well. I obviously haven't watched any of those games in Group B, but 4-0 in the group, beating EDG, beating the new LNG as well. I'm excited to see how that all went down, because the VG lineup is kind of an interesting roster as well.
They're like a brand new lineup.
Very similar to what they had
Cube,
before.